So, community programs on WASH, Water, Sanitation and Hygiene, is a UNICEF initiative which has mushroomed out into use across the world. And this is based around education and infrastructure in order to deal with water, sanitation and hygiene. Now, he suggests here that water, sanitation and hygiene are entirely to do with the water supply and bacterial contamination, but also WASH has been expanded to include menstruation. Cultural taboos have meant that girls can end up missing school whilst menstruating, and during periods of menstruation there can be a lot of difficulties and embarrassment, particularly for younger women trying to deal with their sanitary products, and there may be very undeveloped forms of sanitary products which then, if good hygiene is not maintained, leads to infection problems and ill health for women. And all of this is very easy to deal with through allowing programs of education, trying to improve cultural acceptability of talking about these issues and dealing with these issues, and to sensitize people to the importance of these issues. So quite a lot of these most of these WASH programs are implemented by community health volunteers, and so these volunteers will attend training delivered by public health programs from non-governmental organisations such as UNICEF, and through public health practitioners. Once they've received enough education, they will normally be quite strong within their community, and so will act as champions within the community for these issues, and will go on to deliver the education for people within their communities themselves. And so I could say these form the backbone of a lot of public health action and activity across the world. There's community WASH programs have not only a program of education sessions and provision of infrastructure for simple things like trying to stop open defecation, but also to try to encourage people to wash their hands before they prepare food, before they eat food, after they've been to the toilet, and at other occasions such as before smoking, during rest breaks, and they tend to be very commonly used in schools as you try to implement these changes in people's habits. So you think about what triggers you to wash your hands after you've been to the bathroom. It's something that you were taught when you were a very small child, and so these sort of behaviours will then continue through people's lives. But it can also be very important to pick up things around food preparation, such as ensuring that vegetables are thoroughly washed, ensuring that food is properly cooked and is kept in a safe manner, and that it's cooled in locations where vectors such as flies can't transmit disease from local, so from feces to the food as it's cooling or being kept on the side prior to being eaten. And so there's quite a few strands of WASH, but they all come down to fundamentally water, sanitation and hygiene, and looking after these three areas. So there's a lot of focus on monitoring interventions as they've been used, and spending in this area has traditionally been very poor, which is quite nonsensical, as these interventions are very cheap, and they provide one of the best paybacks for per pound of money spent on these interventions, in the form of money saved from dealing with ill health, but also in the form of the reductions in levels of ill health from communicable diseases that have been caused by poor water, sanitation and hygiene. And so WASH interventions are still a core part of public health in any area where you've got communicable disease, and get used even in areas where you have where you've got areas with communicable disease outbreaks, and so they remain one of the cornerstones of good public health practice.